Hi everyone, let's go over my medium time frame and low time frame bullish and bearish Elliott Wave scenarios on Bitcoin, starting with my medium time frame bullish scenario where we're looking for a finished wave 1 or a finished 2 or B for now continuation to the upside in a wave C or a wave 3. The most common target area for a wave C is between the 1 and the 1.236, which is between 35.1k and 36.7k, and usually the minimum target for wave 3 is the 1.618 trend-based fib extension, which is sitting at 39.3k. The main difference between a wave C and a wave 3 is the volume and the impulsivity. So for a wave 3, you really want to see a more parabolic move to the upside with big green candles and also volume increasing. You want to see much higher volume than you had in this wave 1 to the upside. While for a wave C tends to be more of a lazy structure to the upside and volume quite similar to wave A. Now what you also see is that currently the low of wave 2 or B as it stands has been made on top of the 0.382 Fibonacci, which is a common target for a wave B and a rare retracement target for a wave 2, which increases the probabilities a little bit of if we get continuation to the upside, this being a wave C compared to a wave 3. But then again, it very much depends on also the impulsivity and the volume that we get in this move to the upside. If we then go to the more bearish scenario, then in this bearish scenario, we are looking for still more downside to come. We are looking for a zigzag to the downside where this impulse to the upside ended at the pivot over here. And we are looking for a 5-3-5 zigzag to the downside, currently working on a wave B. Now, if we look at this wave B, we are then looking for a 3-wave structure where we then have a wave W and X, and we're going to be looking for a wave Y or an ABC, as I will explain on the low time frame count. But what is interesting about this wave B mainly is the resistance at 30.4k. Now for a wave B, the retracement levels are the 886 to the 0.382, and as you can see the 382 has been hit, but price could go all the way to the 886 and still be a wave B. However, that very much depends on the subdegree count of the wave B, which is the internal waves of wave B, and therefore the targets for potentially a wave B are very much in the areas over here. And what I think is interesting is that triple top. I've been talking about it for so long now, the 30.4k area where we have 3 highs. We have the 0.5 and some more resistance between 30.4k and 30.6k, and all the way at the 786 we do have a resistance area between 31.1k and 31.3k, but that is actually quite high if we look at the subdegree waves of this wave B. Now after this wave B, you then expect a continuation in an impulsive structure to the downside to finish a zigzag in an ABC, where B is then a complex structure that looks like this. So we're looking for a 3-wave structure over here that is then either an ABC or a WXY. Now, if we look at the impulsivity that we have over here, it looks better as an ABC to the upside. It has to be said that for a wave B, the 105 that you see on the chart, taken from the low to the high of A, is a rare target for a wave B. Most commonly, an expanding flat wave B is retracing between the 1.236 and the 1.38, but as you can see, that has not been reached, and the 105 is a more rare target for the low of a wave B. Now if we look towards the upside, then you can see the wave Y targets and the wave C targets. Now a wave Y means it's a WXY, so it's a 3, and then you want to see a 3-wave structure to the upside. But again, as this looks like a straight line to the upside, I'm more interested in potentially the wave C targets over here, which also means the triple top at 30.4k is going to be taken if price is going to reach these levels. Now if we look at the resistance area, or at least the targets for wave Y and C, then Y is between 29.8k and 30.1k, and C is between 30.5k and 30.9k. And if I then open the resistance areas, we do have some resistance inside the wave Y target. As you can see, it is the blue box over here, which is sitting between 30k and 3123. And also, if we look at that wave C, as mentioned, 30.4 to 30.6k is definitely an interesting area. If we look at the target area above wave C, I mentioned it's around the 30k area, but you see it is above the most common target area for a wave C. However, a rare target for a wave C is the 2.618, which is sitting all the way at 31.7k. That is very close to the high. So if price would retrace this high, I think honestly, if price goes above this target area over here, this resistance area, that we can look for new highs as well. as long as this is resistance, then we have to take into account that it could still be a wave C, but going above this area over here, in general, going above this resistance area with the triple top and moving towards the upside is probably going to be more bullish for the more medium time frame bullish scenario, where we then look for continuation. As you can see on the chart, I also wrote down 5-wave structure, ABC zigzag structure, or WXY structure. And that has to do with this move over here. Because in the more, let's say, bullish scenario, you want this to be the low for now a continuation to the upside. But can we count the structure to the downside in such a way that this is the low? Yes, but we have to work with more rare structures, because if we look at this structure as a 5-wave move and then an ABC to the downside, which then C is a 5-wave move, we have to think about a 1, 2, 3, 4 and a wave 5. But that means that the low of wave 1 and the high of wave 4 have overlap, which is not allowed in a classic impulsive structure where you want to see a 1, 2, 3, sideways 4, 5 and no overlap between the high of 1 and the low of wave 4, but that is the case over here. So then we have to think about diagonal structures. But if we pull trend lines from the high of then wave 2 to then the low of wave 1 and 3, then you can see it's more like a channel, or it is expanding. And an expanding diagonal is very, very rare and therefore never preferred. So that is interesting. Now, what about a 3-wave structure? This being a 3-wave move that ends over here. If we think about a zigzag, then we're thinking about a 5-3-5. So then you have a 5-wave move, 3-wave structure, and another 5-wave move, but then the pivot ends over here. So how can we include this in a zigzag? Well, not really, because we have a 5-wave move, 3-wave structure, and another 5-wave move, or you're going to be 5-3-5, but that doesn't work at all, because a zigzag has targets, and you then take the trend-based fib from the high to the low of like your first wave structure to the high of your wave B, and then an A, B, and then a wave C to the downside, toggle on the zigzag targets, and you can see that in this case the 0.618 has been hit, which is a rare target for a wave C. So if you pull the trend-based fib to like, let's say, this low over here and put it on the high that we have over here, so now you're looking at an A, B, and then somehow this being a wave C, well, you know, none of the targets is hit, so that doesn't really work. So an ABC over here does not work. If we look at a WXY, then we're looking at a 3-3-3. So instead of a 5-3-5, you're looking at 3-wave structures. So then this can be a wave W to the downside. Then you need some sort of an X and a Y, because a W is a 3-wave structure and then a 5-3-5 over here. So then 3-wave, 3-wave, and then another 3-wave, but then again wave Y is way too short compared to a wave W. Only if you count this potentially as like somehow a 3-wave over here, which it looks very much like a 5-wave, but let's say it's a W, X, Y, X, Z, then you could potentially think about having the end over here. Still Y is a little bit short, as well as Z, but then you could think about ending over here. But again, this looks impulsive, and this move to the downside over here as well, or at least it looks like a 3-wave structure if you connect it to this price, like this price action over here. So basically what I'm saying is this is like a live Elliott Wave analysis of how difficult it is to get the low over here. Can we have a low here? Yes, but then we're thinking about most likely an expanding diagonal structure, which is rare. And therefore it is very important to observe the reaction that we get over here if price is going to reach that high, because the reaction over here will give us the information of this being a 3-wave structure for then more downside in the medium time frame bearish ABC, or if price is going to continue towards the upside. If we then look at the volume profiles and I zoom out a little bit, you can see I have 2 volume profiles on the chart. One has been respected with the value area high, which has been retested. So over here you can see a volume profile of this range. Price moved to the upside, retraced back, hitting the value area high of this range. For now, again, a bounce towards the upside. And we were basically bouncing between the 2 value areas. This is another one over here. You can see that the value area low was resistance, but now again we are again testing this value area low. If we manage to this time go through it, then we are going to be looking for the point of control as a first target, and there you go, the point of control very, very close to the triple top indeed. And if the point of control is passed as well as the triple top, you're then going going to be looking for the value area high. Now, same accounts to basically what I have over here. These are just simple support resistance areas. Resistance, support, resistance, back to support. I mean, it's kind of a test, I would say. And this area over here was support turned into resistance, and if we can pass this area, we can look for at least a triple top once again. So as it stands now, price is just above this resistance area, looking good for potentially a move to that triple top area. Now, it also has passed one of the confluences I mentioned earlier in other videos, which is the daily level at 29.7k. That was important resistance, at least between the time naked point of control that I removed and the daily. The daily was my main. So now that price has moved at least above for now, also closed an hourly candle above. That's good to see. Of course, price can retest the daily, but I would personally be looking for some higher prices where, again, that triple top at 30.4k is very interesting indeed. If we look at the CVD divergences, it's been playing out very nicely. It's been playing out very nicely. You gotta love CVD divergences, right? We had a higher low over here, right? Higher low on price, lower low on the CVD. Bullish CVD divergence. The target is this high over here at 30k. And then on the more local and lower time frames, we also had CVD divergences building with the drops. So over here, higher low on price, lower low on CVD. I'll show you in a second. And with this drop as well, higher low on price, lower low on CVD. And that is also what I wrote in the Koenz Silver YouTube membership section, where I said, well, preferably I would still look for a move towards the upside. So personally, I am looking for higher. That is what I wrote over here, because price was moving to the downside quite impulsively, but it missed out on a potential wave C area, and then an A, B, and a wave C to the upside. So a three-wave structure. And because it didn't hit the target, I was like, well, you know, we moved to the downside. We have some CVD divergences as well, which I will show you right now. And we didn't hit the wave C target area. So over here, price moving down, bullish CVD divergences with this low. This is the low of the range, this low over here. And if I go to the yellow line, then you can see over here on the right that the yellow line is below my horizontal cursor. So bullish CVD divergences for price continuing towards the upside. Very nice indeed. And now as these divergences have played out, we have to wait and see what happens. Now, before I go to the probabilities, there is a campaign. Only 2 days are left with BingX, one of the partners. It's very, very nice. Just a small deposit. You get a reward, which is some free money you can trade with 10x. You can keep the profits, but the losses with this reward, if you only trade with that reward, that is, are covered by BingX. So that's really cool. Check the link in the description and the pinned comment. And then finally, the probabilities of these scenarios. Well, on the medium time frame, I'm quite neutral, as well as on the low time frame, I'm looking for upside. That's the reason why I am pretty neutral on the medium time frame, because in both scenarios, we are looking for a move towards the upside. So depending on how the move then develops towards the upside with the waves that we get, do we get a bit of a retracement, or do we just go up in a straight line? What's the reaction over here if price manages to get there, because we have some resistance here as well. You know, based on that, we then can give probabilities to the more bullish or the bearish scenario. But at the moment, I'm neutral, as we just have to observe these reactions. And that's then also what I wrote over here. Observe the reaction at the daily. Well, we're now at the daily. As you can see, price is actually moving just below the daily again, so it's still resistance. We still have to keep the daily into account. If we can pass the daily, then we have to observe the reaction at the targets area for a wave Y over here, which includes this resistance area, right, my blue box, and we have to observe the reaction at wave C. If we can clear this resistance area, we go to the triple top. We trade level to level. And then, of course, eventually, yeah, the triple top reaction. So I hope this video was helpful or valuable to you. Please check out the most recent educational video I've made about the best trading indicator you can use. And for now, thanks for watching and subscribing, and I'd like to see you at the next one. Bye-bye.